Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. Man of the People, here with your post-game show live from the field, Bank of America Stadium, as the Carolina Panthers have fallen to the L.A. Rams with a final score 34 L.A. Rams, 31 Carolina Panthers. Almost the exact score when they beat these guys back, I think, November 30th, 31-28. But again, final score, LA Rams 34, Carolina Panthers 31. Man, this game, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I already said, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, here with your post-game show. And, you know, this one, I'll tell you, this one seems like it hurts a little bit more because of how it ended. You know, this team all season long has been inconsistent, but they've been kind of consistent with their inconsistencies, right? They were winning every other game since, I believe, about week 9. Then they broke that streak with losing to Tampa Bay. And then Bryce Young has been known to, whether or not he's been good the whole game or not, if there's a chance to win in the final minutes, that he has a game-winning drive and he's able to do so. And that didn't happen today. So some surprises, right? It definitely felt like a little bit of a heartbreak on this one, and we're going to go ahead and cover it as we always do. Want to ask you guys for your continued support while I get a drink of water here. Want to ask you guys for your continued support of the channel so we can continue to do what we do. That is our goal each and every pregame and postgame show is to get 5 super chats. We don't care if it's 99 cents, which I think is the minimum, but anything that you do continues to help our team, our staff. Today, it was myself, Ashley Stroline, and Patrick Snyder working for you to cover this team and do what we have been doing all season long. So we are going to do what we normally do, which is first start with the pictures from the game, go to the press conferences and things that we may gather in the locker room, go over some stats, and then we'll break down the things that I have observed from the game that we might not have covered so far with our reporting. So without further ado, let's see if we can give a this comment just stands out. Excuse me. Heck of a game, Chris. Happy how we played. Keep pounding. So I'm not going to kill you guys with optimism, but I do feel like there is a moment that you will pause when you get done with the heartache from this game and say, you know what, man, we just played a very, very good team, LA Rams, and we took them down to the wire. Less than a minute for them to score and beat us. And going to get ahead of myself a little bit here and say, you know, what if J.C. Horn, I forget the whole list of guys. I couldn't get it together, but it feels like J.C. Horn, Claude and Cheryl. I think it was like 3 guys on the defensive side that just got hurt in those final minutes. And then the L.A. Rams looked like they haven't looked all game long and just drove down the field. And, hey, incredible catch. I forget the player, but incredible catch by the Rams guy to get that touchdown. I didn't think it was going to happen. I'll be honest with you guys. I did not think they were going to get a touchdown because all game long the LA Rams had not been able to go that long and score a touchdown. They were just kicking field goals. You know, all game long when they were scoring their touchdown, it wasn't a short field, but it was less than 50 yards that they had to go. They were starting in the Carolina Panthers territory when they were making those scores. But nevertheless, we're going to do what we always do. Thank you for the comment, 93 JC, baby. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at photos from the game. You know what we say, right? Win, lose, or draw, we tell the story of the game so you guys can see what happened. All right, let's go ahead and start to do that now. All right, so here we go. Telling the story of the game. That is Mike Jackson at the end of the game walking off the field. And by the way, you guys, appreciate the support. So let's get those likes going. Even though it's not a good win, and I know you're not in the best of spirits, give me a little like for what I do here with Carolina at Charlotte Vibe, covering this Carolina Panthers team. But there is Mike Jackson, who had a great game, great season, certainly like an underrated player as he's walking off the field there. And here's another photograph here. Again, end of the game, you got Bryce Young walking off the field, saying thanks to the fans. You know, Cam Newton was here. I was kind of wondering if if you recall, I mean, I know it was totally different context, right? But when that 2015 team was playing, they'd all run around the stadium, do a little lap, giving high fives to everybody that was sticking around. Now, might have happened tonight, but I think with the loss, you know, you weren't going to see that. But it was a great atmosphere in this city this week. It was electric the whole week. You know, I talked about it in a pregame show, but you saw people, young, old, black, white, you name it, you know, just having their Panthers jerseys on and having that spirit. And the atmosphere around this stadium today with the concerts, all the activations, Cam Newton being around, all the players, really, really refreshing. Really, really awesome. Incredible experience. So let's go ahead and continue to rock through these photographs. No surprise here. You got our guy Bryce Young, head coach Dave Canales, giving a hug at the end of the game, as those two have made some very good leaps and improvements this year to get to where they are. No doubt that you're going to see that because Coach Canales does it at the end of the game. Whether or not he hugs players is different, but he certainly greets all the players as they're leaving the field after the game. And how about this? This is the defense getting after Matt Stafford. And good old Matt Stafford, who is certainly going to be he's an MVP candidate. He was all pro that it came out. He's a Pro Bowler. But Matthew Stafford had a game in which he started out pretty good. I'm trying to get to my notes here with you guys. Yeah, Matthew Stafford started out the game 8 for 8. And then he went, and this was at one point in the third quarter, so this is by no means the complete synopsis of his performance, but he started out 8 for 8, and then he went 2 for 12 after then. So he really came out good. Didn't come out like completely on fire, even though 8 for 8 is good. He wasn't just like, 300, 400 yards in the first half. But this Carolina Panthers defense really settled in, and I feel like as I was watching this game, I was thinking, are we about to have like the equivalent of Bryce Young in Atlanta where he just owns that team, that this Carolina Panthers defense is just going to own Matt Stafford and the LA Rams? Because they're a really good team, right? But when we play them, it looks like we're two even teams. That's something I was beginning to feel like we were going to see. As you know, that ended up not being the case. But great game. And Mike Jackson had himself a great game, as he has been all season. Really, really an incredible find. Really, really an incredible discovery by Dan Morgan and bringing him here, getting him out of Seattle to come. The tandem of J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson, just incredible. Really good stuff. And then this is just unfortunate. You could tell, you knew that J.C. was going to likely miss the rest of the game, because when he had that hit and then he went down, he just immediately kind of grabbed his head. Like, one of the things that I don't know if you can brace for to prevent a concussion, but it just feels like it, right? He didn't see that guy coming. It just kind of hit him completely, and unfortunately he left the game with a concussion. Again, appreciate everybody's support for things. Let's go ahead and go through these images. And how about this guy right here? This guy right here, Jalen Coker, the undrafted rookie out of Holy Cross, who just had himself a heck of a game. We're going to get into the stats here in a little bit, but Jalen Coker has been coming on hot and strong each and every game, getting better and better. You can just see it, that he plays with tenacity. He plays with the ball hawk. Even though he's on the offensive side, he plays with that mentality. If it's my ball, if it's in the air, it's my ball. And then one thing that to me certainly sticks out about Jalen Coker, this guy is physical. He doesn't mind getting hit. He's going to hold on to the ball, and he's going to go after the ball. So T-Mac, Jalen Coker, that looks like a tandem. Again, first-year guy, second-year guy, that's something to build on and something to look forward to. So Coker's definitely going to continue to have some shine here, and we're going to see what happens with the rest of the roster. Won't start to put the cart before the horse and start to talk all about the off-season moves and what they need to do as a whole. But certainly some room to be optimistic about this Carolina Panthers team going into the future. And this is one of the plays here where you got a chance to see some of the toughness of Jalen Coker. By the way, continue to hit that like button. Help us get to our goal, 3 super chats per game. We got 0 so far, but I know it's heartbreaking after the loss we just had. Jalen Coker, great photography here, again, by our guy, Patrick Snyder. Catching Jalen Coker, who this play here ended with a penalty on a defensive player. He actually did hit him in the helmet as he was coming to make the tackle there. So, and as you imagine, we tell the story of the game. The story of the game with this young man right here, Jalen Coker, getting it done, running the ball, doing his thing. It was the Coker show today. I know a lot of people out there are excited about that. And we'll continue to rock through this, go through these pictures, tell the story of the game. This is something that was a little surprising to me, right? You had our running game, which you felt pretty optimistic about at the beginning of the season, having, hey, we're getting a 1,000-yard rusher from Dallas, and we got a 1,000-yard rusher. Our running game should be really, really solid. And then you have Rico Dowdle come out, and you're like, oh, okay, it didn't work out as we thought, but, hey, we got a crazy good guy, Rico. Anyway, I'm all going to say that this last bit of the season, the last quarter, but nevertheless, Chuba Hubbard did get some things done today. This is him and the team celebrating this touchdown. And so I don't know who this is or if this is – this guy looks like he wants to cry. Man, who are you talking about? Hip Hop, my best friend, 803. Certainly not happy, but there's no tears here. But I definitely wanted the Panthers to win today. That's for sure. Bryce Young, I'm not sure what this play was. Let me see if it's in my notes here. This is Bryce just on a scramble, but man, how about that? Man, it seemed like it was about a 20-yard scamper in which Bryce Young scored a touchdown, and man, you could just feel the excitement of things going here when that happened. But here's just another good shot. Bryce on one of his several carries that he had today. And let me go back to the comments just for a second. I would have cried if we had a won, honestly. I kid you not. I could share you guys my text messages. I text somebody and say, I might be crying tears of joy on the post-game show if we win today, because I just did not see it happening. Wanted it to happen, but I just, once something happens, like you could be emotional about it. But, I got to be a professional, and there's no crying here, but I feel you there. And I just see my super chat is screwing with me. It says bold now 824. Hey, bold now. There's another option here in case the super chats do not work for you guys. In case you do have Cash App, you see there on the bottom of the screen that it gives you the information if you want to, instead of doing a super chat, do a Cash App, which actually gives us more money because YouTube takes a lot of money on those super chats. But again, however you guys want to contribute and help us continue to do what we do, just let me know. I appreciate all the support, and we're going to keep working through all of these photographs here. One of the big hype moments of the day was set up earlier this week when the Carolina Panthers let us know that, when they gave us a hint, Cam Newton would be pounding the drum. Now, they didn't say exactly when. I actually thought it was going to be in the third quarter. But it was at the beginning of the game that Cam Newton came out, pounded the drum. Cam also did his 4th and 1 podcast from here in Charlotte, and I heard he was also at a few other places today during the pregame, getting fans excited about the day. And we did get a super chat, which I am going to go ahead and touch on right now. Ducindo, don't like Ashley not being here, but I am a Rams fan. Panthers will be fan. So Ashley is here. I'll see if I can get her to come on the show at the very end. Ashley is here, but she's currently in the locker room doing some stuff, feeding me some information to put up some other stuff. So, thanks, Deuce. I appreciate you very much, very much. And let's continue to walk through some of these photographs here. here's another good moment. This is Cam Newton doing what he does so well when he gets ready to come out the tunnel, right? Doing his Superman pose. Yeah. Cam Newton was in the building. And what do you do, Bryce, after you run for, again, I think that was about a 20-yard run. I forget the exact distance, so be forgiven on me a little bit here, guys. But Bryce Young celebrating after his TD run, and you could just feel the momentum. You're like, all right, is this happening? And here's a shot of that run here. Again, our little hat tip to our guy Patrick Snyder, getting all the photographs, capturing all the moments from the game today. Bryce Young eluding tackles. And you could tell he was just going to go for it. And when you're watching from the press box, sometimes things can seem like it's in slow motion because it's like you see things opening up. And you can see as he started scrambling, like, man, if he goes to his left and just keeps running, that is wide open. And sure enough, I think at about 10 or so, he started cutting to his left and made that touchdown. And he's just like, wow, that was great. And that was a play that was assisted by, at that point, the Rams were in a man defense. And so backs are turned. He starts scrambling. They're going to, of course, not see it because they're in man. They got to stay on their guy. And Bryce was able to exploit that and get that touchdown, which was, as you see right here, very, very awesome. And then here's the guy, Puka Nacua. Had a solid game today with the LA Rams. Rose Boom there with the tackle. Puka stretching for it. But you got to say this, like, wow. Wow, let's go to the sound effects here. Round of applause to the Carolina Panthers defense for having such a dynamic leading top receiver in the NFL, just going crazy. And Puka, he had many passes that went his way that he was not able to bring in. So excellent job by this Carolina Panthers defense. And Matthew Stafford said it earlier in this week that this Carolina Panthers secondary is nothing to laugh at. He said he hoped to not give him the ball as much as he did in that November matchup, and he didn't. But he just did not look the Matthew Stafford that he normally is throughout the game. An interesting fact here for you: Matthew Stafford, 9 picks this season. A third of those to the Carolina Panthers, 2 of them to Mike Jackson. Is that not insane? But again, that's where I was starting to get some confidence as this game was going on. Like, hey, maybe, just maybe, this is like Bryce Young with the Falcons, and this is going to be how Matt Stafford is with the Panthers, and that we just play them really, really well, which, I'll take. All right, so give me just a second here, and we are going to go to Coach Dave Canales and his press conference. We're going to pick some highlights from that, snippets to play for you guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with some of Canales' comments here about these guys battling some adversity. So give me just a moment to cue this up, and we will start to go through some of this. Oh. All right, this is going to be your head coach, Dave Canales. Again, Dave Canales talking about the adversity and this game overall today, in which the Carolina Panthers narrowly did not get the victory with the LA Rams. So here you go.
I'm really proud of this group. Early adversity, some things that we gave away early on, and an interception. We didn't execute on 4th down. We were 0 for 3, which is, we've had some success there. You know, and got to give credit to the Rams first and foremost, you know, making the plays when they had to, and they got the ball back with time on the clock and the ability to drive the field right there, and they got it done and made an amazing play for a touchdown right there at the end. So my hats off to Coach McVay, to the Rams for battling. And again, you know, this is you know, there's such a mix of emotions in the locker room right now of guys who are proud of what we've accomplished and proud of what we've gotten to, and sick about the missed opportunity that was right in front of us. And that's going to sting. That's going to sting for a good while. But I ask the guys to keep their heads up and let this fuel you for what we're going into, and to understand how hard it is to work to get into this position where you get this kind of opportunity.
All right, so there was head coach Dave Canales talking about the game today, some stats that I hadn't looked at yet about their inability to convert on fourth down, which is in fact something that has been their strong point. I'm going to double check the stats there, but I do believe he said they weren't able to convert on their fourth downs. And yeah, you know, that's been something that he knows that he has to squeeze everything that he can out of this team, get every opportunity, get extra plays to give them a chance to win. Pretty aggressive first possession of the game that he went and tried to go for the fourth down right, you know, not yet at midfield, and wasn't able to get it, right? But you got to, you know, and as he's done it all season long, but today, I guess because it was a playoff game, it just seemed that it was a little different. Like, you're like, I don't know what we're doing here, Dave, trying to go for these fourth downs. But we went for it, didn't get it. And then also, hey, let me get to this other super chat real quick from Deuce Caro. $10 super chat. Hey, you guys are great. You're awesome. I appreciate it. And, you know, we kind of start to be like family. I like to meet you guys. We were trying to do a show today live and have everybody come in, but the weather was completely unpredictable, and we wasn't able to do that. But we may just decide to kick off next season with that with the fan involved thing. I'm going to blame that on Patrick. All season long, I was able to keep my train of thought. That time I just like blah, 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 blah. So let me just smile for Patrick. But, you know, we have a good time. I'm glad that Patrick was here. See, he's within earshot, so he can hear this, man. I was getting ready for the game. I'm like, some great stuff. Let me put up some Rams photos from the last game that we played them. And I was like, oh, crap, we don't have any photographs because Patrick was vacationing the world. But nevertheless, we're going to continue to rock through this press conference. And we're going to have head coach Dave Canales here with some comments about Bryce Young and his play today. So give me just a moment. We'll get that up for you guys. Again, this is going to be head coach Dave Canales on the play of Bryce Young. I love it when it does this to me. I'm on some super fast internet, and then suddenly it just wants to give me troubles for a second. So we'll do this here. And I know how to cheat the system. And now we're going to play head coach Dave Canales on Bryce Young.
Gritty, just gritty, tough. This is a really good pass rushing group, and he made plays. He extended the play, found guys down the field consistently, ran a touchdown in from a little bit further out, and of course he'd be up here and he'll tell you he would love to have that interception back, and that's a part of this game that he understands, like that's in his control, but at the same time, to give us a chance to take the ball all the way down after the punt, a couple of plays, and then punch it in with the beautiful throw right there to Coker at the end to take the lead was unbelievable. I just can't say enough about the way Bryce stepped up and played in this game.
All right, so that was head coach Dave Canales on Bryce Young and his play today. Gritty is the way that he would describe it. Gritty, tough, and he gave us a chance, which he did, in fact, give them a chance to win this game today. Going to now play another clip from Dave talking about the emotions in the locker room after the game, right? Like I talked about it. You guys have been talking about it. Hey, somebody joked and said, hey, that guy looked like he's about to cry. I said, no, I'm good. And then somebody else said, if they had a won, I would have cried. I said, that's exactly where I would have been today if we had a won. I'll probably be crying at the beginning because it's like, man, it's been a long time since this team has been giving you hope. Now, the record, yeah, we did have a losing record, right? But we won the NFC South much better than we've done in 10 years. It's been 10 years. And then during those 10 years, like we had one playoff appearance again in 2017. But since that 2017, it's been head coach after head coach. We've had new ownership. We've had just all kinds of trying to find our quarterback. Still don't know absolutely if we have our franchise quarterback. Certainly seems like the needle is tipping in that direction. But nevertheless, appreciate the super chats. We got 2. Hope to get 3 more super chats. Again, those super chats could be as little as 99 cents. Give your boy a little support for being out here live. No rain, knock on wood, for this Carolina Panthers team. But we're going to go ahead and play Dave Canales talking about some of the emotions in that locker room after today's matchup.
I could almost feel your emotions. What are your emotions right now?
They're completely mixed. Just disappointed. As we all know in this league, there are no moral victories. Today is not about a proud moment of losing this opportunity, but it's about a team that came together to play really good football and to battle. And it was, on this stage right here in a primetime opportunity, in the playoffs in the Wildcard Round, unbelievable for the guys to step up and make the plays and play with physicality and our style. Our style was on display today, and I'm really proud of that.
What was your kind of thinking after you guys score and take the lead? Were you starting to think like this might be a repeat of 6 weeks ago, or were you a little concerned about having 2.5 minutes left, or all of those things?
I had full confidence in our group to get it done, and understanding that there's guys that were ready to make plays, ready to rush them and try to force the ball out. And Matthew Stafford did a fantastic job of finding open receivers and working the ball down the field.
All right, so we're going to play one more clip for you guys before we go to Bryce Young and his press conference, and that is on bringing back the pride to this city. Like I had described earlier, atmosphere this week has just been incredible. Really exciting stuff, a lot of happiness, a lot of Panthers jerseys. Here's Dave Canales on bringing back the pride to the city.
Helping bring that energy back and being a part of the team that did that.
Absolutely. When we came here as a staff, our whole goal was to create a brand of football that we could be proud of, and that's what we're doing. And we're building something from the ground up, from the basics, the fundamentals, and the technique and all that, and trying to build it the right way. I'm just so proud to bring that to Panthers fans, to bring them a brand of football that they enjoy watching, that they can connect with, and it brings the community together. And I'm really proud of all those things. And I'm sick that we couldn't get it done for our group tonight.
You guys have been really successful.
All right, so there you go. Dave Canales saying, hey, that's something that our staff talked about before. I mean, once we got here, what we want to do, bring back the pride to the city. And I'm telling you, I don't want to talk about it for the next hour. Like it was very refreshing because, when you cover this team as long as I have been, and I forget the exact year, I started maybe around 2010, maybe 2008 exactly. I forget exactly because I do a lot of stuff. But everybody knows what I do, and it's like, hey, man, what's wrong with the team? Hey, man, are we going to be any better? And it's kind of like, well, I'm optimistic, but it's still – I don't feel like we're there yet. So it was refreshing. It was really, really refreshing. Let's go ahead and go over to our quarterback, Bryce Young, his press conference. Going to play a few highlights for you guys from Bryce's press conference, and then after that, we'll get into some stats. I'll give you guys a few more of my thoughts, and then we'll wrap up, and then Ashley Stroline, since you guys have asked for her, will join me as we do the final wrap-ups for the show. All right, so let's get to Bryce Young and his opening statement in just a moment. All right, Bryce Young and his opening statement.
After that Coker touchdown, the Panthers knew they still had a lot of more work to do, and maybe body and soft.
Guys, down 14, almost got what we want to.
Obviously not a great feeling at all. Don't want the season to come to an end. Special group of guys in that locker room, and it's a tough one. But I'm super grateful. Again, I wouldn't have wanted to have the this year with any other group. I'm super excited for the future, but that'll come again. It's fresh. It's not a great feeling, but I couldn't be prouder of these guys.
You described it.
All right, so that was an opening statement from Bryce. And let's talk about this. This team, again, improving, right? Last year, I forget the number of wins, 5 or 6. This year we're up to 8, made the playoffs, but most importantly, we're NFC South champs. And Bryce talked about what that could mean for this team going forward. And before I play this clip, I'm just going to say, like, Bryce, my man Bryce is definitely consistent. He is 100% consistent for who he is. But here's Bryce again on the momentum from right now.
That's on us. We're not entitled to anything. Whenever the next season comes, it'll be 0-0. But I mean, it was the support from the city, from the Carolinas tonight was huge. It was really fun to be able to play in an atmosphere like that. The energy felt great. We're super grateful for that. We all have a ton of belief, a ton of confidence in that locker room. We know what we're capable of. Sucks to fall short. So we're going to be motivated. And again, we're not entitled to anything because of, anything else. So we're going to be motivated to try to earn the right to have a better finish next year.
All right, and we're going to play 2 more clips from Bryce. One is on where he made the most progress and his development as a franchise quarterback this season.
I think just ownership, ownership from the unit, from the offense, ownership for the team. I'm grateful to have a great group of guys, grateful to be empowered, and knowing what I mean, knowing what we're capable of, making sure that it's my responsibility to bring that out of us for us to be at our best. Again, just the increased ownership as a player, as a leader. I'm grateful for that growth, and it's on me to continue that growth.
All right, and then we're going to have one more clip from Bryce, and this is going to be Bryce on the final series and what went wrong. Again, one last clip, and then you guys will see me again. But this is Bryce on the final series and what went wrong.
Yeah, just execution. A couple of things that we all that I want back, that we all want back. It's in a moment like that, you want to be able to come through, and wasn't able to do that. So again, it's just execution. I haven't watched the film yet, but obviously want to find a way in situations like that.
Do you feel like with McMillan?
All righty. So that was Bryce Young on the final drive and what went wrong. Again, a lot of things to be built upon. I won't be Mr. Optimistic right now because it definitely was a heartbreaker for this team losing the way that they lost tonight. Just didn't think that it was going to happen, but unfortunately, it is something that happened tonight. This comment from my man Bull now sticks out. Canales is the right coach for the job. But, yeah, so we're going to have a lot more wrapping up of the season, looking at things overall, looking at positions, talking about the draft and all that things this team may need to do. But, for me, I absolutely think Coach Canales is the right guy for the job. I feel like he's got us on track. There's changes that need to be made. There's improvements that need to be made. And to me, he seemed like he's a guy that shows that he's not afraid to make those changes, make those improvements that are necessary, and get this team to where they need to be. All right, let's go ahead and look at some stats from today. Break this down, and then I'm going to go ahead and look at the something that Coach said about the performance on 4th downs. But let's go ahead and look at some stats, which also tell the story of the game. All right, our quarterback, Bryce Young, 21 of 40, 264 yards, an average of 6.6, 1 TD, 1 interception. Look at his passer rating, though. This passer rating ended up not being the best passer rating there is, but he had a passer rating of 71.2. Now, you see all of that passing, right? And you go to think, man, wow, aren't we supposed to be a run-first offense? Aren't we supposed to establish our identity through the run? What are we doing here with all these passes? It's not there. It's just not there. And, yeah, Coach Dave Canales could be stubborn. But, it wasn't just one game. It wasn't just 2 games. It's been like 4 or 5 games where the run game hasn't been there. I know we have not had a running back go over 100 yards for a minute, right? Why is that? Is it the blocking scheme? Is it the vision of the running backs? What is it, right? I don't know honestly right now without having to look at a lot of tape. But this is what happens when, I don't blame him for going to the passing game, because you saw Tedero McMillan doing well, you saw Jalen Coker doing well. Man, that drop at the end by my guy Jimmy Horn Jr. Golly gee molly, right? I'm making up words today, but I'm not going to bash Jimmy for it, but certainly he should have caught the ball. Yeah, it could have been a little bit better ball from Bryce, but he should have caught that. He needed to catch that, and he didn't, and that that caused the game to end right there. But let's go ahead and look at our receiving, because we gotta do some sound effects and some applause and things like that for our guy Jalen Coker, who took over, who showed some serious chemistry with quarterback Bryce Young here, where he had the leading targets with 12, leading yards with 134, and then you see the other person that was right behind him was his mate Tedero McMillan with 81 yards. Tommy Tremble coming in there, and then you see Xavier Legette, 4 targets, 1 reception for 8 yards. Rico and everybody else with a bunch of zeros, as they were not received. But this chart right here, Jalen Coker and Tedero McMillan, like that works for me. Yeah, I mean, we certainly need more, right? So here's the missing piece / completion to the puzzle. If you can get Jimmy Horn Jr. to fine-tune some of his game just a little bit more, and then you could have Jimmy Horn Jr., Tedero McMillan, and Jalen Coker being a really good threesome to attack for our wide receivers. Now, I don't think Jimmy was going to be still like your every down player. I think he's a ways from that, so there still could be another wide receiver that comes in, and maybe he's splitting, right? But I still could see Jimmy coming in and evolving where his hands get a little bit better, and then we're able to really take advantage of his speed, because even though there were a few times today that we were able to use his speed and get something caught underneath. I think it was T-Mac that might have caught a ball underneath because Jimmy was streaking down the seam. But until he starts catching those passes more, it's not going to give you the full decoy effect or stretching the field effect that you want it to and that it could, because he just hasn't made the connection. But nevertheless, let's continue to work on through it. Here's our rushing performance. So a great buddy of mine texted me during the game and said, like, how good is Chuba day and not Rico day? And I said, Chuba is doing decent, but Chuba's still not doing enough. And again, I'm not putting that all on Chuba. I don't know exactly where it's coming from, what's happening. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and take a look at these rushing yards. Total yard for the Carolina Panthers, 83. 83 rushing yards, and Chuba had most of them with 46, and then you got Bryce Young had the second most, and Rico just couldn't do anything at all. Rico with 5 carries on 9 yards, Bryce with 3 on 24, Trevor Etienne one carry, 4 yards. So I'm going to tell you, I said it before the game, they needed to have a little bit of a run game. They needed, it wasn't paramount, but you needed to have it at times, because we didn't have it and it hurt us a few times. So let me go ahead and look at this stat for the team, because I didn't have it right in front of me. Don't laugh at me squinting, because I don't have on my glasses. Carolina Panthers were 0 of 3 on 4th down. So, yeah, that's what the Coach Dave Canales talked about. They came into this game leading the league by far on completed 4th downs. They didn't make any today. They were 0 of 3 on their 4th downs, which is very unusual for them. 3rd down conversions was actually an improvement. They were 5 of 12, so they were 42%. So that's kind of what saved them, right? Usually we're very poor on our 3rd down conversions, and then we need to do the 4th down. It's so imperative. But today it actually flopped. We were actually pretty good on third down conversions and just were not able to bring that through on our fourth down conversions. And since we're talking about stats, I do also want to talk about the performance, because I was just talking about the rushing, right, and how it could complement, and you can just get into it at some point in the game that you need it to go to those plays. Final stats on the Rams side, and I usually don't talk too much about stats on the other side. Matthew Stafford ended up with over 300 yards passing. That's pretty good. But also, the LA Rams offense ended up with 116 yards rushing. So they had established a pretty decent rush game, and they were able to go to that as they needed it, right? So they had over 300 yards passing, over 100 yards rushing. Carolina Panthers, 264 passing, 83 yards rushing. It's not horrible. I mean, you know, we had 20 yards. Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, we had 20 yards in that Tampa Bay Bucs game. But, and by the way, all this talk about the weather, it has not rained today. It actually was raining a few drops as I was coming out here to do the show, and I was thinking, okay, great, now it's going to rain at the very end, but no rain at all today. And oh, you guys can't see me. Sorry, didn't know I hit a wrong button there. But yeah, that was that. Let's continue to rock through this. Got some more stats for you on the defensive side. Christian Roseboom led you with tackles today, had 9 total. Claude Sherrillet's having a pretty good game as well. And then Mike Jackson with your lone interception. So that's going to be your defensive stats from the game. Let me see if there's any other things in my notes that I want to touch on really quickly. Then I'll try to touch on a few comments. And then we'll get out of here. And you guys have asked for Ashley to come back on. So Ashley is nearby. I will be bringing her on shortly here in just a second. But I wanted to make sure that I got through all of my notes from today's game as well, because I think there was a few things I want to talk about. I know something that surprised me early on in the game was, number one, okay, when we went for it on fourth down on our first possession, that surprised me because we weren't even in our, in their side of the ball. We were still on our side of the field. But how about the LA Rams having an opportunity to kick a field goal at the end of the first half with, I think it was about a minute to go or so. And Sean McVay said, nah, man, I want to leave no doubt. What was that? Remember the Titans? Leave no doubt. And attempted to leave no doubt, but didn't do so, right? So they didn't convert on fourth down. And then what happens? Bryce Young and crew, they drive down. I forget what we did. Was that a touchdown that we got after that play? I forget. Sorry, guys, that I forget exactly. But we went down the field and scored right before the half. And it was like, yeah, this could be big. This could be something that helps the Carolina Panthers. And it did. It certainly helped us continue to get back into the game and give us the opportunity to win. And, again, it looked like we were going to win there up until the very end. Also the play with Nick Scott hitting the Rams defender. I forget which receiver it was. I'm not sure which receiver that was. But, anyway, we had a picture of it earlier. But, certainly when you first saw it, you're just like, oh, my goodness, what? I mean, I don't get too emotional in the press box. And Ashley's off camera here probably laughing like, Chris, you never get emotional about anything. But I was inside, I was really emotional. Like, what in the world just happened there? Like, he just hit the guy hard, and they're throwing a flag. But, nevertheless, that was one of the few times that I was able to see the screen and see the replay. And Nick Scott did hit him in the helmet, kind of helmet to helmet defensive receiver thing. And then you saw, I don't know the receiver's name, but you saw him on the screen with a bloody tongue or lip or something like that in his mouth afterwards because of that hit. So even though initially it didn't seem like the right call, it indeed was a true call. And it was still a much better called game than it was if you were down in Tampa and the things that happened there. Yeah, I think that's about it that I had for things. We had quite a few injuries from today. Akeem Ekwonu left the game with a knee injury. He did not return. Robert Hunt had left with a pectoral injury. He was out for, I think, a good bit of the second quarter, but they went into halftime. I guess they did their halftime locker room magic on him. And he came out and he was able to play the second half. And then again, there's some other guys. I know J.C. Horn left the game with a concussion. And then I'm not too sure of the remaining players. I have them on those. Claude Sherrillis. I think he might have had a hamstring injury, but I don't quote me. I feel like it was 2 other players that got hurt at the very end of the game. They did not return. And there you have it again. Final score is not on the board anymore. I forget, but I think it was. You remember the final score? 34-31. I'm trying to read her lips. It's kind of fun. I'm like staring at her. But 34-31 was the final score as the LA Rams were victorious here in Charlotte. They won't have to have that dreaded long flight back to LA with the loss. Let's go over a few of these. No, you know what? I am going to bring on Miss Stroline here for a second as you guys requested. I got my mic upside down. Let me get this right side up, and we'll get some comments from Miss Stroline here in just a second when I figure out what to unplug and then what to replug. So give me guys just a second. All right. So let's line ourselves up. Now you got to come closer. She doesn't like me. She's going away from me. But I actually thank you for the people are asking for you. They said I think it was a Rams fan. They said they're waiting for you to come back. So I said she's inside helping me do all the things to have all the press conference from Bryce and Dave. But just we're talking about our experiences, right? Because they said that they thought I was about to cry, even though that was exaggeration. Someone said they were going to cry if they won. There you go. Talk about this game today and just as a whole, a 30,000-foot view, what you saw and what you felt.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we can be excited, I think, because I feel like a lot of people coming into the game, obviously fans were excited to be back here at the bank, and it was great to see the crowd before, to see everyone pack out the bank, all the black and blue, and just the Panthers jerseys and the fans on their feet and cheering and all of that. But I feel like when I asked a lot of people, maybe on Media Row, like, what you think? And they're like, maybe there wasn't a lot of positivity, even some like mean tweets from some national folks out there saying, why are the Panthers in the playoffs and they're hosting a playoff game and all those things. And then they came out and held their own and had a few plays went the other way. Maybe, just maybe, they would have walked away winners of this one. But I think you have to be confident and proud in the growth that you saw this season. Obviously, there's, it's a roller coaster, some ups and downs, but I think getting to the playoffs, hosting your first playoff game here at the bank in 10 years, and then being competitive until the very end, I think you have to feel, it's like the hope that kills you, right? Ted Lasso is one of my favorite shows, and that's a whole episode, and he gives a great monologue about why you should have hope, but I got a little hopeful, and then I'm sad a little bit about it, right? Because I was like, wait, can they do it with Cam Newton in the house, and Jay Stu, and TD, and, Trey Boston, and all, Kirk Coleman, all these guys.
Everybody.
I know, and so you wanted just to see it have like this full circle moment a decade later, but I think you look at how young the team is, the rookies, all of that, and you can be optimistic about where they're headed. Bryce Young I think every year you've seen a little bit more growth with him. This year he gets playoff experience with T-Mac. He has I think great chemistry with a good target there. Jalen Coker really coming into his own. So I think you can now kind of see, okay, Bryce has some great targets that can make some great plays. And then unfortunately defensively, J.C. Horn, not saying it would have made a difference, but out with the concussion on that last drive to not be able to be out there with his guys, too.
Do you know how many guys we lost on that defensive part in that last minute or two? I feel like it was definitely 2. And I know J.C. was out. Was it Claudin, or do you know?
I'm not sure, because at that moment, that's when I run to the elevator, and I'm like, okay, let me try and listen to, the broadcast that's in the elevator and see what's going on. But there's a lot of moving parts. But I know I obviously saw, on our Twitter page, JC was out with a concussion, but they collided. We had a lot of guys fighting through injuries. Icky as well, obviously on the O-line. Sounds like that's going to be something that's going to be a little more serious.
Not good.
Yeah, a little more serious than what we wanted. So.
All right. Any big surprise moments from today's game, or most impressive moments for you?
I just think it's the resilience of the team, the way that because you could have easily, look, we've watched the wheels fall off sometimes, right? You get down, what was it, 14-0? Or
Yeah, 14-0 in first
yeah,
quarter.
and so it's like, oh man, like, is this what it's going to be? How do they bounce back? Can they stay focused and stay level-headed? And so for me, like, that was probably the best moment in that they didn't let that keep them from staying competitive and staying in it. And I mean, they were leading in the fourth quarter.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right, there you go. I brought her on for just a second. Ashley Stroline, thank you so much. I'm going to switch back to my headset and wrap you guys up here. Give me just 1 second.
Wait, also real quick,
yeah.
let me just shout you out.
Who you
for
gonna
all
shout
for
out?
you. We got to shout out this guy because I don't think people know how much hard work you put into doing the coverage that you do. And I've had a chance to work with you this season and see what goes in.
Cry.
No. But I just have to commend you because you had this cart full of gear and you come and set up out of love for the game and the passion for the team and giving the fans like the content that they deserve. And so I just want to say thank you for letting me be a part of the Charlotte Vibe team this year, and for everyone that watches. And I don't know the cool lingo like the super chat or whatever it is. Is that right? Something. Okay. See, like I hope that everyone knows how much it means to Chris and to Charlotte Vibe, and just literally, I mean, you're out here setting up things. You've got sound bites running. You're plugging mics. You're turning. So there's so much work. Chris is doing the job of like a 5-person production just to give this type of content. So I just want to shout you out and thank you for letting me be a part of Charlotte Vibe this year. So there you go.
Thank you.
Yes.
We'll do what we can to have you come back in some kind of way in the future as well. All right, check. So we're still good here. So, yeah, again, it's more than just me. Of course, you guys see me most of the time. But, again, I want to give a shout-out to the entire group that helps me throughout the season, which, as you see there, is Ashley Stroline helping out today for all the home games. My guy Hunter Bailey, who helps out for all the road games. And then our outstanding, super incredible – she talks about me, and I'm going to take my flowers from her. But our guy Patrick Snyder, on more than one occasion, will fly into whatever city the game is that morning, taking a like 4 o'clock flight from some other city, work the entire game, not eat until the end of the game. And he's like the only guy that you'll see on the field with a computer, backpack, and all this like survival gear, because he's just like a warrior. So thank you to Patrick Snyder as well, and everybody that has been a part. And thanks to you guys again. We're going to continue to report. Tomorrow will be the last day. That's going to be locker clean out day. So we will have some coverage then. We'll also do our post day after show where we call it Let's Talk About It, right? So whatever you guys want to talk about, there's not much of an agenda for that show. Whether you want to ask some questions, vent, whatever it is, I'm your friend in the media. It's like to say you have a friend in the media, which is myself. And we'll continue to do what we do and rock with this team. Hit that like button before you get out of here. If you're watching the rebroadcast, make sure you boost the video. You have the ability to do that. Hey, you guys love the one-on-one interviews that we did this year, so we'll continue to do that. We're also going to try to do some things in the off season, which we have not done before. So, again, that's where all your support goes to, is helping me to continue to do all of that stuff. So, once again, signing off for the final time this season, live from the field of Bank of America Stadium. I am Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe.